Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It is once again your friendly deputy of Movie Deputy Podcasts, bringing you yet another, interesting movie review. I am actually excited to talk to you today about The Flash. Now, I know this movie has been getting a lot of heat for just almost pretty much everything that actually makes it watchable, because I don't think really people are taking the whole thing into account. Now, mind you, The Flash, played by Ezra Miller, his character is about as dull as dishwater, so it's really hard to connect with him. I'm going to kind of get a little bit more personal on this one, because the first time I actually connected with this character was in the 2021 version of Justice League done by Zack Snyder. Mind you, it's a 4-hour movie, but Justice League was so-so, and Zack Snyder, that's all. I can't talk today. Zack Snyder's Justice League, even though it's 4 hours long, it's so much better than just the regular Justice League that came out in the theaters. And in that, there's a scene where the Flash basically saves his future girlfriend person, and there's a song that plays in the background by Rose Betts. It's called "Song to the Siren." When I heard that song, I immediately brought back like an olfactory memory of sorts. Listening to that song, I have no idea why. I have no idea what it is about that, but there was just something special about that. And honestly, I've listened to that song on repeat so many times. But I'm not here to review the song. I'm just kind of touching base at the point of where I first kind of connected with this character. So Flash gets his own movie, and of course, there's not enough. I mean, like I said, this character is the equivalent of old dishwater. So they couldn't make a movie with just him. It just was not going to work. And so they kind of combine a bunch of different storylines. Now, in the original storyline of his life, his mom dies tragically in his youth. So he finds a way through some friends of his that are inventing some stuff, that he found a way that he can actually go fast enough that he can go backwards in time. And he thinks that if he goes backwards in time, he can fix it. And of course, it compares everything to like the butterfly effect and just kind of the whole thing of you change one thing in the past and it just snowballs things to the future. And he has no idea to the level that that's actually going to play out in all of this. He goes back and he makes changes. And don't worry, none of these are spoilers. I'm not giving away any spoilers on this. But I mean, he runs into an alternate reality where there is a different Marty McFly in Back to the Future. He runs into a world where there's no Aquaman. He runs into worlds where he sees literally every single Superman that has ever been played. I mean, we even see like Christopher Reeves and stuff again. It's like literally every single Superman that there has been. The same thing with Batman. Every single Batman except the Robert Pattinson one. And I'm going to come back to that in a minute. Kind of along the whole way, he kind of realizes how much of a mess he's making everything. And he realizes that not every problem has a solution, and that ultimately that the scars that we have make us who we are. Now, I wish I could take credit for both of those lines. Those are 2 quotes from the movie. Sound very similar to stuff that I would typically say, though, so it does kind of play into the whole thing on that. But the part that makes this movie the most watchable, and I was just giddy when I saw this one, is, okay, I'm a traditionalist. Not in everything, but in a lot of things. For me personally, my favorite Batman has always been Michael Keaton. Back to the beginning, that is, okay, gotta give Adam West credit too. I mean, he was the original, but movie-wise, my favorite Batman, even with the clunky bat suit, he was always my favorite Batman. And honestly, even though the story is about Flash, or Barry Allen, as he's also known, but that story is not necessarily completely about him. The story ends up a lot about Batman. And so we see what Michael Keaton's life has become since he stopped being Batman. And he actually has to get back into character to kind of help set things back on the right path. But it's not ever that simple. So this is it's an exciting adventure. There's a lot of surprises that you just don't expect. I was just really amazed at how much I really liked this movie. And I'm honestly really hoping that Zack Snyder does another extended version of this where we get to see more of the storylines of the different realities that he goes back into. And there's kind of a pretty major twist at the end. And of course, I'm not going to give that away, but it's definitely worth waiting for. Kind of in almost Marvel fashion, no, this is a DC character. There is a bonus scene after the credits. So it's definitely one that you're going to want to stick around for if you watch this in the theater or if you rent it at home or whatever platform you're watching this on. Like I said, stay through the credits because there's a scene that is worth waiting for. Ultimately, you're probably wondering what I gave this movie on the deputy scale. No, let's see. Okay, I'm comparing a character to Dishwater, and then I'm also talking about my literal favorite, Batman. Personally, I probably would have given this a little bit of a higher score because the whole... with all the Batmans, all the Supermans, even the thing with Christopher Reeve, I was like instantly like mid 7s, maybe upper 7s on this right after I watched it. And the more I kind of that's a big reason that I do not score movies literally right off the bat, right as soon as I watch them, because I usually go back through my notes and I kind of dissect the movie as I go through and just kind of maybe pick it apart a little bit more. And so the score that I ended up with on this one is a 6.75 out of 10, which is still a pretty great score considering the main character of the movie isn't the main part of the movie, which is probably the strangest part to come to realism with on that. But like I said, this one is so worth the wait. But Taro, please don't do that. Sorry. As usual, I've got my kitties in here with me, and one of them is being very mischievous at the moment. So I just had to get on him for a second. But this one is definitely, it deserves a lot more credit than it's been getting. It's pretty much from everybody else. And I think people really need to maybe just go back and give it another chance because it's kind of easy to miss. There's so many Easter eggs in this and so many different directions that they can go from here forward. I'm just like, wow, with what they're doing with this. And I'm also wondering, okay, with that twist, like I said, I can't give it away, but it's like, okay, is everything going to resolve itself in a way? Like I said, that doesn't give anything away, and it's probably more confusing than anything, but trust me, this one is a lot more worth watching than you'd think. On the whole guilty and innocent, on this part, there's a little bit of language in this, but even with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and give this an innocent on the guilty and innocent thing, because like I said, there's a little bit of language, but it's not overdone. So with that, like I said, I just was really excited to bring this review to you. It's just, this movie is just getting butchered out there by other critics and this other just people watching it. I'm like, okay, are you literally just watching the same movie I just watched? Because I'm seeing people's descriptions and I'm reading people's descriptions on the movies, and I'm just was like, it doesn't even seem like we even watched the same movie. But then again, I pay attention to a lot more of the details that people can very easily miss unless they've gone back and watched a movie a bunch of different times. But ultimately, I hope this helps. I hope this makes you actually want to give this movie a chance. And like I said, let's really hope that Zack Snyder takes this a step further. So until next time, bye-bye.